Hey there, friends and enemies. JoPaWrites here once again, and today I have another brand new episode of the Writer's Thoughts. This is your favorite podcast. We talk about all the gaming, geeky, nerdy, streaming things that you love, and so do I. And I am super excited for this one. We have a buddy of mine who I've been meaning to talk to a lot more, but just haven't had the chance. And this is a perfect opportunity. So, MoshPatt, how you doing, my friend? What is going on? How's life?
Hey, I honestly, I'm doing pretty good.
That's
Just got
awesome.
off work, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Stuffed my face full of food that isn't good for you. Just tons of that.
Yeah, no, that happens.
But yeah, how's it going?
It's going great. I mentioned this pre-show, but I might be a little saucier than normal in this episode because I've had an alcoholic beverage or two, so we're feeling good. But yeah, let everyone know where they can find you, what you do within the content creation realm, all that kind of good stuff. Twitter ads, whatever the case may be.
All right. Well, my name is MoshPatt. I pretty much exist in the Destiny 2 space, but I'm like branching out from there. I exist on TikTok at MoshPatt, Twitter at MoshPatt, Twitch at MoshPatt. I'm very uniform in
that is so clutch. You have no idea. Being able to have your name on all the platforms is huge. And that's something I don't think a lot of people take into consideration when they're first getting everything set up, because yeah, it's so easy to keep everything uniform, and you just have one ad to let everyone know, hey, this is where to find me. Or if I've talked to people and they're like, well, I got an underscore on this one, I got 3 letters on this one, and it's like, man, that's gotta be rough.
Oh man, I mean, at one point in time, I considered putting the like X's to the side of each thing just to be super edgy. It's really great.
No, you don't ever want to go there. That only causes problems.
At the end of it.
Oh man, no. See, what you do is you add that to your clan tags or whatever additional way you can add that. So like when I'm playing Warzone, I have live as my clan tag. So every time I'm playing with randoms, they're always like, "Oh, are you live?" I didn't want TTV because I've seen a lot of toxic TTV and FBGGers out there.
Or FBGG.
Yeah, Facebook gaming, man. You don't know? That's the new trend.
No.
I'm serious. It happens all the time. It's crazy.
That's how. What? No. What? No.
I don't understand it. You'll see YouTube like YT a lot, but the people that have those built into their gamer tags are weird, man. Because like most of the time, if you look them up, they either they're not streaming, no content for the last 3-4 months. Like your whole point of that is to promote yourself, and you've got nothing going on. It's crazy.
I can probably name off of like my 10 fingers, that's the amount of people I know that have like TTV in their name that like I know that produce content.
Yeah.
Just like more power to you, but you know,
see,
you're coming in under the belt there.
Yeah. There are certain games that it actually doesn't make sense for, but it works for. If that so like Fortnite, for example, because a lot of kids played that game. If you stream Fortnite and you have TV in your name, TTV, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, guaranteed you'll up your viewership because people will come in and be like, 1v1 me, bro. And it happens every single time. I played Fortnite like just not even the BR part, the Team Rumble, which is just the generic like 20v20 shenanigans. And I'd get people coming in 1v1 me, and I'm like, look at me. I'm an old dad. I'm not trying to go into creative and crank 90s against you. There's no shot. So yeah, it works in Fortnite. I've actually had some people stop by the stream from Warzone because I had live in my name, and then in Destiny, I've had people come by my stream even though I don't have any kind of indicator on my Destiny stuff. So I think people just whenever they get beat or they something happens, they always kind of look up who they're facing, and then they're like, "Oh, that dude's streaming. I'm gonna go say GG's, well played, bro." Like that's just
in this day and age, easily most of the Destiny community that would be in like at that tier has a Twitter handle, so you can probably find them that way.
That's
or
true.
Just like I don't know, like whenever I like this is a thing I used to do. Like whenever I got like hate mail, because I don't know why you would send me hate mail. I'm not good at any video game, but they send me a hate mail just like, oh, look up your Twitter. It's like, oh, cool. Here. You have like 5 followers. You retweet a lot of just porn. Cool.
Yeah. No, it's kind of crazy. I've honestly never looked anybody up that I've played as far as their social medias or anything, just because I don't really have time for that. If someone beats me, good for them. I've never sent hate mail. I've reported people who were like, I feel like if they were manipulating, I've reported people in Warzone for cheating and etc. But like other than that, I don't send any messages. I don't look people up. I don't have time for that. If you want to send me a message, I'll fire back at you a little bit. And it's always the people at the bottom of the leaderboard or the people who are salty about one thing or another that are sending the messages. So I don't know. It's pretty funny.
A lot of mine is like it just turns into friendly banter after a while because I go in with the intent to disarm them when they come in with like the hate mail. Just like, oh, we're just chilling, just doing this, or just like make a joke. Just like cap zones is like, I was trying to finish bounties. You know how this game is.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
just like weird things.
So I'm a big proponent of letting people play the way they play. Now, sometimes I get frustrated. I don't like playing against those people. But at the same time, like that's their choice if they want to use Jotun, if they want to use Bastion, like the easier weapons. Like, and if I'm doing trials, everything is fair game. If it's in the game and you're not cheating, it's fair game. Now, I don't like obviously 3-peaking and all that stuff. I think it's annoying. But again, it's in the game. I'm not gonna police that. I might rage a little bit on stream, but that's just me being frustrated because they're kind of being annoying to win. But at the end of the day, if it's in the game, by all means, I'm not gonna rage at the player. It's more what's in the game,
I'm like that, except with sniping. Yeah. I despise sniping in Destiny 2. Not me sniping, but other people sniping me. Getting sniped.
Oh, you'd hate what I do sometimes. My favorite thing recently in 6s has been high albedo sidearm paired with cloud strike. Oh, I'm so annoying with it. Like I'll play Iron Banner and I'll skip right to B and just hold the point, wait till one of them pops on there and just triple clap them. Oh, it's so great.
But at least I know you're on the point. Somebody will just like hide behind boxes and like spawn and just like peek out. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you. You're gonna be in my montage. Oh, it's going down. That's like my thing on stream. Whenever I get sniped, just like, oh, just got put in somebody's montage.
Yeah, no, it does happen. I enjoy sniping to a point. More so like I would like to like if I'm hitting funny clips or cool clips or whatever, that's one thing. But I don't do it on the regular, and I think I can definitely understand people getting annoyed by it. For me, it's like in Destiny specifically, it's shotguns and 120s right now, but shotguns in general are always so prevalent that I find it hilarious that it tends to be the shotgun users who are complaining about every other special weapon in the game, right?
I'm a grenade launcher user, so I feel that.
Oh, they probably hate you. I know a lot of folks complain about grenade launcher use, but I don't get killed by them that much unless I'm not paying attention or I don't see the guy coming. So I don't like. For me, I guess I don't understand the complaints aside from the fact that someone's like, he killed me with a cheesy weapon and I was trying to ape him. Like, all right.
Well, it's a perfect counter to aping. If somebody's running right at you, you can throw a blinding grenade and get out of the way.
Yeah.
Or you can Just like take them head on from a longer distance and just be fine.
I run I don't shotgun a lot because I like to counter meta a lot. And so I'll run sidearm SMG or fusion rifle fairly often, and I've just learned to backpedal, get space, and make them come to me. I get beat by like chaperones fairly often because of that, because the range on those is nuts if people can hit the headshots. And there's some bouncing hunters that I just can't do anything about. Just hopping all over the place, bouncing on my head or whatever. But other than that, it's pretty effective for me. And I think I know some shotgunners and all they do is complain about fusions. I'm like, there's no shot that shotguns are like 70% of the special weapon kills, and you're going to complain about anything else. There's no way, right? But I'm more... So for me, when I play Destiny especially, variety is my jam. I'm using different weapons. Like last week, I was using Devil's Ruin and a sniper. The week before that, I was using Ruinous Effigy. Like stuff like that. Like I just want to make it weird and have fun. And when I top frag with one of those guns, that's when I'm like, all right, that's fun for me, because I wasn't using like what everybody else is using in the meta, and I still was able to play well. I'll have some absolute trash games doing that, but it doesn't bother me because I know at the end of the day I'm going to get mine eventually, and it'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, even with those loadouts, you got to like build up to it.
Yeah,
I'm like by no means PvP pro or anything. Just like I'll like use weapons until I find something that fits. I'm just like, oh, this weapon's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I like this roll. I'm going to use only this for like the rest of the day.
Yeah. See, for me, I enjoy Destiny PvP, and I like stasis doesn't bother me, stuff like that. I love the power fantasy. I like seeing all kinds of different weapons. The stasis sidearm coming next season, I'm gonna annoy so many people with that thing. I can already see it now. And creating builds is one of my favorite things. So I'll run like a solar build with like Traveler's Chosen or something, and I have my abilities literally all the time. And people will be like, "There's no way. What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm Sun Warrior. I got this exotic. I'm doing this." And people just, I think people just don't like to be countered that way. They want their gun, their secondary, and they just want to go do their thing. They want to be able to dodge often, and that's it. And so for me, that's why I enjoy Destiny PvP still more than a lot of people. I do think there's, and we're going to talk a lot about Season of the Splicer and going forward, but I do think that they need to bring more to Crucible, more modes, more maps, stuff like that. But I think at the end of the day, Destiny PvP is what it is as far as the power fantasy, as far as like, I could go back every single season since Destiny 1 and talk about the cheese loadouts, the things that are broken. I used to be able to one-hit sticky people as a Titan and make people rage. We used to have self-res in Crucible. You cannot tell me that this stuff is that much cheesier than what we've seen over the course of time in Destiny history. And that's why I just kind of keep everything in perspective that way.
I mean, I like to think of it as nothing will ever be as bad as Telesto from last year. So,
yeah.
The gun that keeps on breaking the game.
There was a time where I was using Destiny or Telesto in like comp and stuff, and it was so gross. It was like, I would get doubles because people would walk in the hallways and I'd tag the first one and the second one get a couple pellets on it or whatever and die that way. It was great. But I think at the end of the day, everything's about perspective and understanding that the game may not be what you want it to be, but it's fun for what it is. And
I mean, yeah, I get that. I look at it like there's always going to be a new meta. Every season, the meta changes.
That's what I love.
Deep outside of stuff. So where we're at right now with, like, say for instance, I don't know, stasis. Like next season, that could be entirely different.
Yeah.
We could be looking at just like void dominating.
Yeah.
Like if they like decide, you know what, I feel like bumping up middle tree void on Warlock. And then we're back to Controverse Hold just throwing grenades at people.
Well, people have such a limited scope of view too. Of course, stasis was going to be really strong when they first introduced it because they built the whole DLC around it.
So it was 100% buffed to like promote the game.
Yeah,
to keep that power.
You want the new stuff to be great so people use it and it feels fun. Now, does that make it less fun for other situations? Yes, and eventually that'll come back around and it'll get nerfed, it'll get changed, and things will kind of even out. But I just don't understand how people don't look at it and be like, oh, a new character, a new this. Anytime something new is in a game, there's a strong likelihood it's going to be the strongest thing in the game for a while because the developers want people to chase the new thing. If it's a little broken, it'd rather be too strong and them have to reel it in a little bit than it be too weak and then people forget about it 2 days later.
Oh yeah. I mean, even for like, I can't think of a seasonal weapon like an exotic that has been released that hasn't been in some way, shape, or form just like really powerful.
Yeah.
Like the bow, two taps.
Tommy's matchbook is the only one that I can remember that like I don't know if it was ever super useful just because the drawback is so strong, but other than that, I would definitely agree with you.
I mean, Tommy's matchbook was really
it was fun, don't get me wrong.
Situational.
Yeah, but it was never that strong, and I think a lot of people wouldn't use it right away because of the drawback of the healing. Now, let me tell you, if I'm using Tommy's matchbook now, and we got the Warlocks with the new healing rift shooter thing, now we might be in business. Now, you buff me with a Lumina or the rift that shoots the healing orbs or whatever. Now maybe we can introduce a little variety, and some of those weapons that used to not be viable, maybe they're coming around, and hopefully that's the case because I would love to see that. I like when there's a lot of great things, like them adding the chest piece for the Titans. So, Superman Punch is now viable in Endgame. Perfect. You have to choose an exotic just like you do with Nighthawk, but it provides a viable DPS source from Titans, and you didn't have that. Whereas Warlocks had Nova Bomb, you had Titan or Hunters with Golden Gun with the Nighthawk. So I'm glad that they did that, and there's stuff like that they've been doing over time. And I go back through every season, and I look at some of the older exotics. I'm like, some of these are really, really good, but everyone's sleeping on them now because it's been so long since people remembered to use them. So,
I mean, I'd still use Verity's Brow, which is the one that gives you grenade back and just like, oh, we have demolitionist builds. I'm just gonna slap Verity's Brow with everything and just wreck shop.
Yeah, I'll run.
Like, it's nice to go back.
Yeah, exactly. I'll run Armamentarium. I've been using a Heart of Inmost Light on my Titan quite a bit, and because it buffs your other abilities when you use one. When I tell you, you use your Titan Barricade, and then you can throw a grenade, a Void Grenade, for example, and one hit with a sticky. I'm not lying. And once you do that, you get your abilities back pretty quickly, or you get your super faster, depending on what tree you're running. But there's a lot that are really, really good, and folks just sleep on them because it's not the new thing, or it's not their favorite thing that they've been using for a long time. It seems to be one or the other often. It's either your favorite or the thing you've been using for 99% of the time, or your favorite or the new thing is the two that folks tend to stick to.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, some weapons will bring people back to certain exotics. Like, I know for hunters, when the bow came out, a lot of people switch to Oath Keepers
Yep.
because you get that forever charge.
Yep.
These people were never using Oath Keepers. And it's like every bow has like that neat thing where you get the perfect draw. Like Trinity Ghoul, Le Monarch, even Wishender has like a neat thing. It's like, and this is the gun that gets you, or this is the weapon that gets you back to using that exotic, and then you have these other 3 exotics that you're like, oh, I wonder what I can do with this. It's a bow.
Yeah, so I was using Stronghold with Lament for a while, and this is the same thing. It's like you get those bonuses, and it feels really, really good. And I'm with you 100%. I think build crafting in Destiny isn't as deep as it is in some other games, but it's still a lot of fun. And when you mix and match and you find something that is underrated but really, really good, a blast.
100%.
So let's talk more about Season of the Splicer. From what they've shown so far, what has you most excited? What are you looking forward to the most?
Honestly, the aesthetic of the entire thing.
Yeah.
It has that like weird 90s vaporwave vibe to it. And I really enjoy that. I like that they're going back and using the existing planets as well that haven't seen a lot of love, like Tangled Shore and the Moon.
Yep.
It's like I can't remember the last time I went to Tangled Shore for a specific reason, other than like maybe the Presage mission, like that quest there. That's about it.
I'll hit up the Spider if I need Glimmer sometimes, but that's about it. Yeah.
I'll just stay Glimmerport at this point. I'll come to terms with it.
No,
I mean, like,
it gets me the Trials cards. That's when I always like super low on cash.
Like, I rarely do Trials. Like, I think the only times I've ever done Trials, I've done Trials with you, like, once. And I did Trials with a buddy once. And it's like, I like Trials, but I keep weird hours. So
yeah. No. That's definitely tough.
Nobody's playing Trials at like 3 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, that's a tough time, especially because if you do get a squad together, it's probably going to be quite sweaty.
Oh, yeah.
Only the diehards doing recons. I'm with you 100% on the aesthetic. What are your thoughts? So I'm super stoked about the 6-man activity. And I feel like whenever the seasonal activity is a 6-man activity, it's one of the better ones for the year. We had Menagerie, Sundial. Go ahead.
And usually the 6-man activities, for some reason, they have a better loot pool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the way it's designed to make it feel more like a end game raid activity, but like Menagerie had to the point where you had to have a graph for each thing. And Sundial had its set of weapons that introduced just like insane perks, and all the guns were like on point. Like it was the first time a lot of people used a sidearm because of how good the rolls were.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I'm glad that all of the activities so far in the 3 seasons, obviously that we haven't touched the 6-man yet, but it looks like it's going to be very different from Battlegrounds, very different from Hunts. Hunts were probably the least developed of all the 3, like the least fun. They were very quick, very short, but that was because the season was intertwined with Beyond Light, so all the focus was on that. Now, this season, the storytelling part of it was really good. Battlegrounds did get kind of old. They felt the problem for me at times was they felt so much like strikes that if I did my weekly strikes and then I did my Battlegrounds as well, I felt like I was doing a lot of strike-like activities, you know what I'm saying, for that week. So it was hard to do all of those every single week. But again, I do think the activity itself was pretty solid and it was pretty well developed. Now, as a 6-man activity, you're assuming that it's going to be even more so than Battlegrounds. So I'm super stoked about that. And like you said, the aesthetic for the season is going to be great. So I'm really, really excited to see how these missions work and how they look, you know?
Yeah. I mean, for like 6-player activities, usually they like incorporate a lot more mechanics because you're gonna like have to manage 6 people. And I feel like I'm with you on the hunts being like less developed because they kind of did the same thing. Was it Forsaken? It was Forsaken with the Undying Mind, where it's just like you do this repetitive thing over and over, and then that's it. Just a little anticlimactic ending, but it's mostly just for story's sake.
Yep.
Just to like keep the season or keep the like seasonal pattern story going, where it's like this leads to this leads to this.
Exactly.
And where like this one, most of the seasons all like grouping together and lead up to the next season. So right now you've got like the introduction of Aldrin with the first one, where it's like, oh, this is your like possible Hunter Vanguard. We're continuing the story that we did from Forsaken. And we're bringing that forward. We're taking him and making him useful. So this season will probably just like kind of, I would hope, help wrap things up for like the Undying Mind type deal there, because it deals with the Vex and everything always goes in a full circle.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see, because we have a weekly Pinnacle mission, so that's going to be cool. Obviously, we have Vault of Glass, which isn't really tied, but it does sound like from the trailer that it does, or the season page, it did hint that the Vault of Glass is back because of these problems that we're dealing with the Vex. So it is linked in a way, which is good. It's not just like, hey, here's this thing. But it's almost like we're trapped, not in the nightmares that we dealt with on the moon, but a similar scenario where these are in the game, but not our reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with the Vex.
They're like dancing around it, because first they stated that like it's not connected. And then all this stuff comes out where it's like the season focuses on the Vex, and you're going back to the Vault of Glass through a different way. It'll be like a little different, but the story will kind of remain the same.
Yeah.
So everybody's just kind of confused as to where it goes, and I like that. Where it's like there's a little bit of mystery to this raid, where it's like, if it's connected, how is it connected? If it's not connected, why is it there? And that leads to more questions that hopefully the lore will solve up there.
Yeah, I hope so too. And honestly, I don't care ultimately. The loot is going to be really good because it's Vault of Glass loot. And for me, it's my favorite game, or favorite raid, because it's the first activity of its kind that I ever experienced personally. I never played MMOs before it. I've never experienced anything like a 6-man raid. So just it just hits different. I did that within the first month of it being released on Destiny. I just have such fond memories. I had Icebreaker very early on, so I was up there chunking away at some of the cheese spots with Icebreaker for a long time, and I'm excited to go in there and see how it goes. I think if you look in comparison, Bungie learned from that raid to improve King's Fall and Wrath of the Machine. But you can't deny that the first one just hits different, you know?
The first one's always going to be the best.
So I feel like that's why it's always going to have a special place in my heart. And I'm so stoked to jump back in and just feel, like reminisce and go back and find a crew to raid. And of all the raids that have come out, I do a few raids a season. I don't do as much as I probably should. One, because I play a lot of different games, but two, I also don't really have a regular crew. So being able to experience it a few times is going to be so much fun. I might do this one more, like actively seek out groups more often than not, just because it's just gonna hit different. So,
oh yeah, I mean, like I never played Destiny 1. All my knowledge of Destiny 1,
wow,
all my knowledge of Destiny 1 is through videos and people telling me about it, just different things like that.
Oh
So a
man,
lot of my knowledge for this raid is through Bife videos. So
that makes sense.
just like, oh, there goes that. And now I have to like actively seek things like mechanic wise on
Yeah,
how to get this up and kind of cross my fingers and hope that most of it stays the same.
I hope it's different enough. There was a lot of hand wringing about the new raid as far as worlds first, and the way they're handling it, I think is really well done. Uh, they're gonna have the challenge mode, and the belt is going to not be like the same as the other world's first belts, and the the way they track it is just going to be a little bit different. So I think this kind of elevates the game, gives some people something to chase to be first, and it gets the community because no, there's no better time in Destiny than a world's first race, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
The community comes together. The numbers on YouTube and Twitch are out of this world, and everyone gets excited. We had the last raid, maybe the raid before. We had a relatively unknown team win it. So it's just the best time in Destiny as someone who like is not actively participating in Worlds First, but likes to dive in day one. So I don't know. I'm super excited that we at least have a race, even though I know a lot of people were kind of wishy-washy about it.
I mean, I like what they did with it, where they're paying respect to the old team that won it with the belt. So their name is on it as well. They're adding challenges so where it's gonna feel newish to everybody. If this is your first time in Vault of Glass, then you're learning along with the same people that like come in with it. They have like a little bit of experience, but they're not gonna know what these challenges are.
Yeah.
Unless like somebody does what somebody does every year and like cheeses into something.
Yeah.
Which I highly doubt they'd be able to with this one.
Yeah, because there's not going to be the rest of the location is not even available.
Yeah, as far as we know, we don't know how we're going to get here. We don't know if it's going to be a portal. We don't know if we're just flying to Venus. There's no telling. So I would put money down that nobody would like cheese into this. But
not only that,
knowing how this goes, I'll probably lose money.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, but people can find a way into anything basically in the game. Knowing that they're also making some minor changes to it is also interesting. They put a freaking wyvern in Vault of Glass. I'm gonna be pissed. Like
I kind of want them to.
Oh, I hate wyverns so much. I think it's a good idea to mix it up, but God, man, I don't like the wyverns at all. It'll be interesting. And then people are gonna experience the Templar for the first time. It's gonna be crazy.
I kind of want them to put champions in here, but they're introducing better, like higher difficulties later on in the season.
Yeah, that's also something that I'm very excited about. Now, just like with when they first came out with Master, Grandmaster, Nightfalls and stuff, we will see if they have the rewards that incentivizes people to do those activities at harder difficulties. But at least it gives people something to do if they really want to do it. I think it's hard when you look at developing rewards for such a small percentage of the player base.
Yeah,
and making it worthwhile.
Like the PvE like end of it, if you get the rewards too high or too strong, it's going to completely shift the meta into that end where people are going to start requiring, oh, you need X weapon from X raid that you can only get in the like Grandmaster raid.
Yeah,
that's going to
My hope is that they do the same thing that they did with Grandmasters. If we get Adept loot with Adept mods for the challenge, the harder challenge raids, I think that's best case scenario.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it because like when you get to like the middle of the season, especially a season that introduces a raid, things start taking like a little bit of a downhill go there. Everybody's kind of winding down. they're like running out of things to do. It's nice that they threw this in there to just like increase that challenge and just like keep it moving along, where people who would like 2-man, 3-man raids would just like hop back in. It's like, oh, now there's the same raid but with champions or different mechanics.
Yep.
It's like try and do it with like less people and see what happens.
Yeah, I think more difficulties is good. The hard part is always spending the time on development of rewards to make it worthwhile, and also making it so, like you said, it's either you do this and you have the best of the best, or you're SOL. Like adept loot, I don't think makes that much of a difference at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it
Adept
does.
loot didn't break the game.
It does make a difference. It is helpful. It is nice to have, but it's not a make or break thing, and I think that's important. So,
I mean, a lot of them like only deal with like your gameplay individually.
Yep.
So PvP, it pretty much requires you to focus on that thing. Like adept range is range for your weapon. It doesn't affect anybody else. They can still frag out same as you would. Same for like Grandmasters. It's like big boss damage. There's tons of weapons in the meta that can probably compete with that.
yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited at least that they're adding that stuff. I hope that, I mean, at the end of the day, we know people are going to complain about things regardless. But I hope at the end of the day, most people will get something out of everything. Whether it's the raid, the hard mode, all that kind of stuff. Now, they introduced, from the TWAB today, they introduced some of the new loot, some of the returning loot that we're getting. Everyone on Twitter is talking about hung jury. That is the number one talking point that I've seen. Are there any of those pieces? I don't know if you've seen the TWAB. I don't know if there's any pieces.
I have.
Any of those are any of those weapons that you're super stoked about that you really want to get your hands on right away. I think I saw one, so
I'm looking forward to grabbing the exit strategy again.
Yes.
Only because that is going to be the closest you can get to a recluse in any meta right now.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to go unchecked for a while.
Yeah, I can see it. I know there is a grenade launcher for you as well.
Oh yeah. I like that grenade launcher. I want to see what it rolls with, because I only use like blinding or spike on those grenade launchers.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm wondering if that hand cannon is like the same archetype as your dukes and whatnot.
It looked very Duke like. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was very reminiscent of Duke. So it could be a 120, and that'd be interesting. Let me see. I really hope they buff machine guns, because like I used to love machine guns a lot, right? And now I'll use some of the exotics, Xenophage or whatever. Heir Apparent, now that I've got the Catalyst, is an option. I have a tank build that I've worked on. You combine Heir Apparent with the Catalyst and throw on the Icefall Mantle, and you're full tank if you ever want to see that. But I think that machine guns, the legendaries especially, need some work. And I know they've talked about they're supposed to be more for ad clear, maybe less for DPS or whatever, but they just don't feel great, especially in like end game content. So I can't get excited about the LMG, unfortunately. I have a good swarm that I like with Dragonfly. And I have Dragonfly spec on it, so I can just pop heads with that thing. And I probably won't use anything else, because even that doesn't feel super great at times. Other than that, Hung Jury looks good. The shotgun will be interesting. I don't know. I'm glad they left. They said that some of the loot is not going to be shown off beforehand, which I like. So we'll see.
I mean, I think their main focus for this season is going to be fusion rifle. I'm calling it now because they're introducing a lot of fusion rifles and showing them a lot of love to where I can see fusion rifle champion mods being a thing.
If that happens, I have a Coriolis Force from Beyond Light that was an absolute beast, but it's hard to use in endgame content without mods. So if I get fusion mods, oh, get out of here. I'm all in.
I would not be surprised if you get things like Unstoppable Fusion Rifle or like Overload Fusion Rifle.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
And just like handling stability, just like bringing it in.
Yeah,
great.
Give it to me. We need a season where fusions can really shine in PvE because we haven't had that yet. Oh, also that would work with Jotun potentially. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be nuts. Telesto would work with, probably break the game again.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Although second you give Telesto champion mod, the entire game is now unplayable because it just breaks it.
You know what I would really love to see have another chance to shine that we haven't seen since year one? Merciless. If you
I can get behind that.
I like Merciless. If I can get that with a mod and just absolutely fry, you use one clip, maybe less, and you just melt a champion. Get out of here! I'm here. I'm in.
Imagine Merciless with like anti-barrier mod and like Grandmasters with the perk itself, where every time you don't kill, it ramps up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would be disgusting.
Yeah,
in end game content.
Absolutely, I'm in on that. That's the thing. Some people will always say, "Oh, they don't like champions because they don't like being forced to use certain things." For me, it means every season is a new chance to try different loadouts for these champions to come up with different builds, craft different theories on what's going to work best against these high tier enemies. And I always can't wait to see what the mods are so I can use it. Like this season having to be sniper was kind of crazy. And it worked out really well. Like I said, I was running a supremacy with a Devil's Ruin for a barrier and unstoppable, and I didn't need to use a mod for Devil's Ruin, it worked out really well for the snipers having to take up 6 points. So stuff like that is where I like to mix and match a lot. Or like Overload, I was using Divinity, you know?
Yeah. And it follows kind of a trend to where like the seasonal exotic has been like a mod thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get like sidearm mods this coming season.
Oh, yeah.
To go with that sidearm thing. And then it forces a lot of people who normally wouldn't use sidearms to like kind of pick up a sidearm. And you've got some like really good ones in there. Like I think pretty much every role I've ever had in the 7th Seraph like sidearm role has been just amazing. Yeah. You got things like, say they bring Breach Light back. That was one of the best sidearms in PvP.
I have been using high albedo in PvP since Beyond Light dropped. I have a surplus Wellspring role that I love, and nice. I'm all in. Give me more sidearms. Give me stuff that's outside of the normal. Give me mods that we haven't seen in a while. I'm ready for it. I'm here. I love sidearms. I love fusions. I'll mix and match. I'll have a good time with it. And I hope that if they do it like that, if that's what we see next season, I'm gonna be so happy.
Oh yeah, I'm excited honestly for next season, like a lot.
And this is the thing. So we're at the point in the season, or we're almost the next season. So we're kind of back to the hype train. But we were just in the point of the season where it's slower. People start complaining about things or start wondering what's next and everything. And I'm like, for me, it's perfect. So I had a 4-week period where, what was it? I think it was Warzone. Genshin Impact, Apex Legends, and now next week Destiny. All 4 weeks had a new season, new update, back to back to back to back. And so for me, this last month leading into season of Splicer is perfect because I gotta have all this new stuff. I was so distracted, I wasn't worried about, oh, there's nothing to do left in Destiny this season. What am I? I'm gonna sit here and grind out things that are not fun. So I'm gonna hate the game going into next season. So I feel like a lot of people do that, and that's where when you talking back to what you brought up in the beginning of the podcast is that branching out to the variety, even if you don't do it all the time, is very, very important. No game is gonna hold you forever. And even if you don't play a lot, like this is a mistake some people make too, is they only play a couple days a week and they're like, well, that's not a lot, but you still get burnt out over the course of time because it all adds up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of, and I'll scream this from the rooftops on Twitter, where it's like, if something's not bringing you joy, just take a second away from it, find something else that brings you joy, and come back to it with a renewed focus and excitement, and you'll be fine. Like, say for instance, I honestly have not even opened Destiny since last week Tuesday.
Nice.
I have other games I want to play. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII because I've never played a Final Fantasy game.
Yes.
I've been doing that. Eventually I want to mess around in Apex, but I haven't gotten a chance to because the servers are, broken. So
yeah.
But and I feel like I can feel a change in my attitude towards like the content where it's like usually near the end of the season, I'm either up until like this season, I was doing nothing but raid helps and things like that for like Destiny 2. Where it's like, now that I don't do that much, there's not really much left for me to do in the game. So why don't I take some time off? I'm already at the highest level I can be on there. Nothing's going to change or go away or happen near the end of a Destiny season.
Yeah.
And then, come back and Tuesday.
Sometimes they'll drop a little story quest or teaser for the next season, but that's about it. I'm with you 100%. I think I know it's hard for content creators, right? Because as much as people will tell you otherwise, they're not going to follow you no matter what game you play. That's just the bottom line. And sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes your content is different when you're playing one game. Like I know my content when I'm playing Genshin Impact is very, very different from where I'm playing Destiny or Warzone or Apex or something like that. So that's a change that I can expect everybody to enjoy. So you gotta set your community up to know that when there's downtime, I'm gonna dabble in other things, and you introduce them to that stuff slowly, so that way. But unfortunately, most people wait until they're burnt out, and then they're just like, I was playing Destiny, now I'm only gonna play Apex, and 3/4 of the people who used to watch you are gone.
I mean, for getting burnt out, if you go into something and you're not enjoying it, it's going to be very obvious for your viewer base to see you're not having fun. Yeah. And if you take that energy and you bring it to a new game already burnt out, you're not going to have fun in that game either. You're going to get mad at all the things about that game, and then you're mad at 2 games, and then you're going to take that and go to another game. Just be like, why? I hate every game.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a thing that a content creator should do is realize when you're getting burnt out before you get fully burnt out.
Yeah.
And just reel it in and do something else for a bit or switch it up.
I feel like people don't see the signs. It's just like any other job where you're in a job, you're grinding away, and then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, man, these last couple months have sucked ass. And you don't always realize it. So I feel like it is hard at times, especially if you look at something like Destiny. Say you're a creator who's making decent money, whether it's from Twitch or YouTube or sponsor, whatever, and you're like, I'm burnt out a little bit, but I'm making good money. I can't stop. That does make it difficult. But again, that's why maybe one day a week you're like, okay, we're gonna change games. Maybe you say, okay, we're gonna start the stream with Destiny and we're gonna end it with another game. You
Yeah,
know,
and I mean, even
go ahead.
even switching it up in the game. Like if you're a PvE player and you're just like, oh, there's nothing for me to do in PvE. I'm gonna go to PvP and see how good I can get in there. I'm gonna become a Gambit streamer. I don't know if they exist.
I mean, it probably did when Reckoning was around.
Oh, yeah.
But I was Reckoner fairly early on, and I would go into Gambit and I'd have people friend request me a lot because but they'd always be like the worst, like the worst.
I mean, because nobody gave Gambit a chance, so nobody's good at Gambit. I
was one of the few who was all in on Gambit. I still kind of am when I'm with the right crew, whatever. But like, also, I find myself after this long of playing Gambit easily tilted by bad teammates. Like,
because you've been at the top.
I figured out the cadence of like, okay, we need to dunk right now, otherwise they're gonna dunk 4 blockers and they're gonna invade right away. And even though you're not draining their moats, it's because you're not gonna be able to dunk any at all. But people will hold on to, oh my, and it's like they're like, oh, I just want to get my bounties done, and I understand that. But if you don't, like, the beginning of the match is not the best time. Yeah, I could go on a whole rant. I don't want to do that, but I love Gambit to a point. I just don't always enjoy my teammates in Gambit, but I feel like that happens a lot in games like Apex Arena. If I'm playing randoms, I was playing Warzone today. I had the worst teammates of my entire life. 2 out of my first 3 games. I was like, yo, I was just in the stream. I was about to end it.
That bad?
Oh, it was terrible. So yeah, and they just wanted to camp, and I was arguing with one because he was like, I just want to win. I was like, bro, I have a bunch of wins by not playing like this. If I win and we get 0 kills or 3 kills total, I don't count it as a win. That's not for me. So I don't know. I like to play aggressive and actually, like, I'm playing a shooting game. I like to chew my gun, right?
The only time I play like that is like Apex. That's me at Apex.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not about that life. I'm in. Like, we might die right away, but that just means I get to start another game.
Oh yeah.
But
I can get behind that.
Yeah, it's just the way I like to play, and it's hard for me to adjust because I'd rather be in the combat like 99% of the time and win a couple less games, but still enjoy my overall time. If I'm sitting around for too long, I can't enjoy my time.
I mean, also gotta get them clips.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh man, the clips are what makes the game. What do you think about Final Fantasy VII? How are you enjoying that so far?
I have never fallen in love with a game as fast as I have that game.
Yeah,
it is enjoyable. Like playing it on stream and like interacting with my chat, and they're just like, "What? You've never played a Final Fantasy game? You got to do this, and this." And just like, I don't typically play single player games. The last time I played a single player game was like Mass Effect Andromeda, and I love that game too. I love the Mass Effect series like entirely, and I'll play those games forever.
I got something for you too.
Like, oh yeah, it's like coming back to like a single player game where it's just like I feel like I spend a lot of my team based games dependent on other people.
So, I gotcha.
To like come back and just be like, oh, it's just me. If I fail, I fail. If I win, it means like a whole lot more to me.
Yeah. See, I enjoy solo games. I don't enjoy streaming them as much because I feel like I get too into the story that I'm I'm focused and I'm not talking as much as I need to be. So a lot of times I'll do gameplays or whatever. But I'm a long time Final Fantasy fan. I played Final Fantasy Tactics is one of my favorite games of all time. I played 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm a huge fan, but I have never played Mass Effect. And so for the remaster that's coming out soon, I'm going to go through that the whole way through. And,
I would 100% recommend it.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm probably going to... I love games that you can go a little bit on the dark side, so that's probably what I'm going to do. I played a game called The Outer Worlds, and I played evil version of that. Oh, it was so much fun. So if I can be, I don't need to be like pure evil, but if I can be a little,
just a little bit of a dick,
little anti-hero, a little bit of a jerk, yeah, I'm with it. Just because that's like very much the opposite of how I am in real life, so it does spice things up a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, for like Mass Effect wise, Mass Effect was probably the first person shooter, or like first or third person shooter, first shooter in general that I played, and like the gun mechanics of all of those games, it gradually gets better. One was like my introduction to like shooting in a game, and the original Mass Effect 1 is not. It's more of a story game than it is a shooter.
Gotcha.
Where it's like the gun mechanics are kind of off. So like with the remaster version, they're like bringing everything in line. I'm super excited to take like that knowledge and go into it with better gunplay.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked about it. I can't wait. And everyone I've talked to about it has been like ranting and raving about how I need to play it. I just played through the Titanfall 2 campaign for the first time. That was a lot of fun. It was really good. It's shorter though. It was nice. That's one of the things I like. I wish I had more games like that. Like I'm probably gonna play through the Mortal Kombat 11 story because it's any story that's only like between 5 to 8 hours, and I can play in like one sitting. It's kind of perfect for me because I feel like I can pound it out. Like I enjoyed it, but I'm not. Like, if I get distracted, so my biggest thing, if I'm sitting down to play a game, and then some other game releases a new update, that game that I was playing is lost to me. Like, I'm not playing it anymore. So, that's the hardest thing for me with solo games. It's like, I have to be all in, and I play too many games that have updates fairly consistently to do that. So, it's hard to dive into, like, Mass Effect that's going to be 70 hours of games, you know?
Oh yeah, and it's hard for me too currently because I'm playing Final Fantasy. I'm like super excited to play Final Fantasy, but then I'm looking at Apex like, oh, I kind of want to try arenas, but I know if I try arenas, I'm gonna get hooked on nothing but arenas.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I don't even know. Like with the new Destiny release, I'm gonna have to like space out my time. And that's why I've like taken to streaming it, because I know if I stream it, I can like set a schedule.
Exactly.
So doing like, I'm doing single player Saturdays now. So like, I'll take time away from Destiny, and I'll literally only play this one single player game I'm playing, which at the time is Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just to keep it up, and then if I hop on and I start streaming another day, I'm just like, I feel like just playing Final Fantasy. I'll just play Final Fantasy. But if not, then Destiny's there with new content.
Yeah, I like it too that way, and I do a lot on YouTube as well. So I plan around that. I'm like, okay, I know I want some gameplay for Apex, so I'll play 2 hours of Apex. But I'm like, I have to get this other thing done. So I like almost set a schedule for me, like you were saying, and it's the only way that I keep myself in line, because otherwise I'm lost. I'm all over the place. I'm playing whatever I want. Nothing gets accomplished. I've just wasted 10 hours on arenas and have nothing to show for it besides a little win streak or something like that and some sweat.
Oh, yeah.
So I understand that completely. There have been times I've played like trials or something like that, and I've just lost track of time, and I look up and I'm like, my life right now. But it's all fun, and it's nice. It means I'm having a good time if that does happen. But I do have to. I'm not a regimented person by nature, but I have to be that way with content creation. Otherwise, I'll never do it. And I know I'm like, all right, I gotta post a TikTok. I gotta post this. I gotta do this. I'm I got myself organized because otherwise there's no shot.
I feel that. I mean, I honestly slack at TikTok, so I know this feeling, but from the other end of not successfully doing it, well, I'm just like, oh, it's been like 4 to 5 days since I've done anything worthwhile on the internet.
Yeah.
I've just been sitting here tweeting like a monster.
No, I mean, listen, I love Twitter and I feel that in my soul. There's times where I'll look up and I'm like, oh no, I haven't posted. And what's crazy is like now it makes a little bit more sense because what I found is that my videos I can post to YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and also TikTok. All same video for all three. Now, not everyone translates to all three, but if I know I need content, I can put them on all three, right? And it's wild.
Yeah.
The numbers are very different, but it does feel good to know my content is being seen by more people on between the three platforms than just on TikTok. So that has helped me a bit. And the one thing I would definitely recommend, if you have a YouTube, even if you don't have a YouTube yet, YouTube Shorts are great. I've gotten over 1K like views on a bunch of different posts. Same thing with Instagram Reels. Surprisingly, I get more views on my Instagram Reels than I do on my TikTok. So
I'm actually the opposite. So TikTok for me was like that, where it introduced a whole new world of like content, and it was me and Dan Finney. We were just like looking at it, it's like we're old dudes. We don't get this technology.
yeah, this? I feel that.
We're just like, oh, okay. He made a TikTok and I was like, I guess I'll make one, sure. And then I posted just like a stupid video on there, just like using a voice thing. I think it was one that I used like Thanos as a voice for. And it started just out of the blue, for no reason, started blowing up. And people were like coming into the stream just like from TikTok. And I was like, I didn't know other social media brands like had that type of power.
Yeah.
So I get coming from with like Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff.
It's huge, and the people. So the number one thing I would say to streamers who don't have a lot of time and don't stream as much as they like, if you want to promote yourself, the best way is clips and unique videos on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. 100%, that is going to be your best way to promote yourself because Twitch's algorithm sucks. You're never going to get seen at the bottom of every group, every directory, just playing the game all the time. You might get a nice raid once in a while, but you can't rely on that. You can't expect it. And even a good raid might not mean anything long-term. You'll get some follows possibly, but it doesn't really, you might have a good stream that time, but it doesn't mean long-term success. If you want to be successful, take an hour away from your stream if you have to, and post videos to those other platforms. 100%. That's the thing. And it's not going to, you might not blow up, but you're going to see more consistent growth than you would be just plugging away on Twitch day after day after day.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy. Well, I mean, it's been over an hour already. Holy crap, time just flew. We didn't get to talk wrestling, unfortunately, but that just means we're going to have you on again in the future where we'll talk some throwback wrestling, talk about growing up, being a wrestling fan in gaming, and all that kind of good stuff, because that's my bread and butter. I love that stuff, and I don't have near enough people to talk about that with. But
100%. I'm super down for that.
All right, perfect, man. Anyway, let everyone know again where to find you on socials, what kind of content they can see from you in the near future, all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I'm trying to post more on TikTok, so MoshPatt on TikTok.
Let's go.
I'm mostly on Twitter, MoshPatt on Twitter.
Yep.
Instagram, also MoshPatt. I rip Instagram. It's all selfies. But and then also Twitch on MoshPatt. I'm currently, like I said, playing through Final Fantasy VII. Having a really great time doing that. And then obviously when Destiny content comes out, circle back around to doing more Destiny things. Still doing raid helps on Sundays on occasion, or more often than not with Dan.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. But yeah.
That's all. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming by for the podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself today. It was an absolute blast. I love talking Destiny. Obviously I could talk about it all day, and I'm excited to see what you have coming up in the near future.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem, man. Anyway, hey, thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the heart button, whatever the case may be on your platform of choice. You're gonna find us on Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, all that kind of good stuff. A bunch of different podcast apps. Definitely show us some love. It helps us, kind of spreads the word about the podcast, and also shows that you guys want to see more like it. So hit that heart. I love you guys. Hopefully you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.
Bye.